What is going on, guys? It is Josh with AVS Fitness here today doing a quick impromptu video. It's pretty late here. It is 9:30, which means if you're on the East Coast, it's past midnight, so you better get to bed. I just took my evening walk with my dog Oliver. I usually like to take him on a 20-30 minute walk every night. Kind of gets me a little worn out before bed since I usually work out in the morning. And gives me a little time to unwind. I usually listen to a podcast. Right now, I'm downloading and listening to the Mark Bell Powercast, I think is what it's called, or Power Project. It's a great podcast if you guys are trying to find new people to follow or learn from. He interviews a lot of people from my former mentor, Matt Wenning, to bodybuilders like Mike O'Hearn, people like that. So the Mark Bell Power Project, check it out. All the episodes are like over an hour, sometimes 2 hours long, so it's plenty of content. Great to listen to when you're doing cardio. I do that too. But today's video, caught my sweatshirt string there. Today's video is about Deload. So for those of you who have heard of Deload or don't really know what it is, you might also confuse it with like a rest week. And deloading and a complete week off are very different. I'm going to explain to you real quick when you should be looking to use each one and when they're beneficial. So a rest week off is pretty self-explanatory. You're taking the whole week or the day off. You're not doing anything, okay? Maybe some light walking, maybe some pickup basketball games, no structured time in the gym. A deload week is simply doing your workout, but with a lighter load, hence the name deload. So this is typically anywhere from 40 to 60% of your 1 rep max. And a lot of times you associate deload weeks with powerlifting cycles. So if you know a powerlifter and they talk about having their deload week every 3rd or 4th week, that's probably when you've heard it. So when is it beneficial to do both? Both are very beneficial, in particularly if you feel like you're being overtrained. So if you feel like you're starting to hit that overtraining zone, that's when it's time to take a day off. If you really don't want to take a day off, your first option can be a deload workout or a deload week. You don't even have to do a whole week. Some people like to do a deload workout, and that's sort of where the variability comes into play. So deload does not have to be a whole dedicated week at 40 to 60% of your 1RM. A deload can be one workout. So let's say you decide that every 3rd or 4th upper body day, you're going to do a deload upper body day. And maybe every 3rd or 4th lower body day, you do a deload workout, okay? And then the next workout, you're back to your regular cycle. You can do it that way. The next option is to do a deload week. So some people like to do one a month. Some people like to do one every 2 months. Now, you might be asking yourself, do I have to be doing a deload week? Should I be doing a deload week? The answer to that is maybe. As with most questions on this channel, no, you don't need a deload week, especially if you're a natural lifter, if you're not taking any extracurricular substances, then you most definitely need some sort of rest. So if you're in the gym 5 or 6 days a week and you're fine and your diet's on point and your sleep is good and you feel fine, then most likely you don't really need a deload week. Your body will tell you when it's ready. Now, I still recommend taking one just to prevent injury and overtraining, but that's completely up to you. Once you start, a good indicator, it's particularly easy to tell when you're on a bulking cycle or you're trying to gain weight. If you're gaining weight and your strength is going down and your energy level is low and you feel like crap, that's most likely because you're starting to hit that overtraining territory. Now, a lot of people might comment negatively on this video and say overtraining is a myth. It's really not. Now, you might call it something other than overtraining. That's just the word I'm using. But it is a real thing, and you can get severe injury, lowered strength, lower energy levels, increased fatigue from being overtrained. So now the question comes down to, okay, well, what's best for me? Do I take a deload day or a deload week? Or do I completely take a day off or take a rest week? Again, this is going to depend on how you're feeling. If you felt like crap for 2 weeks straight and you're like, all right, I'm going to take a day off or I'm going to take a week off, it might behoove you at that point to take a rest day, okay, or take a rest week. The downside to this is no one wants to take a whole week off, and I don't recommend taking a whole week off. And the issue is the deload days, the benefit is you're giving your muscles a little bit of the break, but you're still working out. What you're really saving is your CNS, or your central nervous system. When you work out, there's 2 different types of fatigue. There's nervous fatigue, so fatigue of the nervous system or systems, and then there's also fatigue of the muscles, so physically your muscle giving out. So when you do a deload week, you're really giving your central nervous system the break is what it's primarily for, and also your muscular system. Now, a great example of how this varies between your experience as a lifter, if you are a novice lifter, for example, working out and exerting yourself is a skill. So somebody who's a novice lifter, they are anatomically, they are not exerting themselves as much as a powerlifter who's been training for 10 years. He knows how to push his body. He knows how far he can push his body. Now, I'm not saying you're not working as hard as them because you're working to your level, but physically, you are not able to activate as many muscle fibers because you're not as well trained. So, if you're a completely new beginner, a deload week for you might still be a pretty hard workout. It might be 60% of your 1 rep max. If you've been working out for 10 years and you are just blasting your gut every workout, giving it all you got, your deload might be 30 or 40%, or you might take a day off. So it's going to depend on your training status, what type of program you're running, what foods you're eating, and how much sleep you're getting. Sleep is number one, all right? If you're feeling like crap and fatigue is way down, the first thing you want to look at is your sleep, in my opinion. Obviously, you should be looking at your food. You could say food and sleep go hand in hand, but 99% of the time when people ask me, oh, I think I'm overtrained, or I think something's wrong with my program, or I don't think my diet's in check, usually the issue is sleep, okay? Usually they're saying, oh yeah, I went to bed at 3 a.m., got up for my 9:30 a.m. class, I got a full 6 hours. It's not really good enough, okay? You really want to be at least 7, 8 is ideal. Now, if you're crazy and working out twice a day, you might need a nap in there at some point, all right? So bottom line, summary of the whole thing, deload versus rest. I do not recommend taking a full rest week off. A rest day is acceptable. If you're going to take a week off, I do recommend a deload week simply to maintain your motor recruitment patterns and your central nervous system patterns. So those are some specific topics that I talked about in school and that I read about. I will make some more specific videos in particular regarding muscle fiber activation and how that changes as your lifting experience goes up or increases, as your lifting age per se goes up. But overall, I recommend deloading. Most people do it every 3, 4, 5 weeks, maybe 6 to 8 weeks. But if you're a beginner to intermediate lifter, once a month, do a workout or do a handful of workouts, maybe at 50%, all right? Just to give your body and your nervous system a break and time to regenerate. And as always, keep sleeping and keep eating. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do anything else, and I will catch you all later.